Yeah, you and I have really talked exactly that, but I think we might. And because for myself, at a certain point, I saw that once I got rolling on the story, I had by then become quite fond of Mr. Dawson. And I saw the story as a chance for him to get his payback against these people that had wronged his life. Just as you're expressing, because they had just really, there were people doing terrible things. So there was one point where I was working on the chapter where he had to leave home at the age of 12 because his own family didn't have the money to feed another mouth. And they could also use the $1.50 a month that he would be paid to work 24/7 on a white person's farm. And he had to live there by himself, with a shed behind the big house of that farm. I think it was, I don't know, maybe a day or two he's traveled away. And it robbed him of his childhood. So I said to him, and I just had it perfect, this book this was it. And I said to him, if Mr. Little were here today, what would you say? I've got pen in hand. This is going to be his quote. This is his chance. And he said to me, son, if Mr. Little were here today, I'd give him a big hug. My book. But I was just stunned. And I said, well, because I knew the story. I said, what are you thinking? And he says, well, son, I've lived a long life, and in this life I got this right. It's astounding in himself, but I buried 4 wives, 12 brothers and sisters, almost all my friends. I've had to be alone many days. Working with Mr. Littles, I learned how to be alone and not feel alone. Every day of my life since I left there, I've had to work. I've always had a job, unless I had 2 or 3 jobs. And I learned how to work at Mr. Little's. And it suited me just fine. I think one thing that happened is I talked to someone later. I had to go talk to some psychologists about it. Like, am I missing something here? This isn't believable. And one person's take on this to me was, people edit their lives. You're editing a book, or you're writing people, or someone edits it for you. People have the right to edit their lives. And sometimes people that have encountered terrible things edit it, not because they're changing it, but to process it, to make it work, and to have a better outlook. And he says those people deserve all the credit in the world when they do that. It doesn't happen all the time. But as they look back, they edit it, or as they move along, they edit it to get a positive outcome out of a negative. And I don't know if you can teach anybody that, but that makes sense to me on a sort of analytical level. What I saw, I never discussed that way with him. I don't know, but what's your take on that?
That's an interesting question. I guess my thing about that would be my grandfather decided, I guess I'll say it the way he said it to me, that he didn't worry about anything. And he would take things to the Lord and leave them there. And if however it worked out, it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. So he just kind of accepted things for what they were. But one thing that I noticed about him was when things would happen, or things that he had experienced in his life, he would always find the good in those things. And to me, that takes a special kind of person to always be looking for the good, even though you see the bad. Even though it was very painful to him what happened to his friend with the lynching and the things like that took place, he still around him found some good, and he found that we can avoid a lot of the negative things if we just don't do certain things. So in order for him not to have a lot of negativity in his life, he avoided doing a lot of things that he thought would cause negative repercussions. So I saw him not only doing that, but I saw him teaching us that as children, that you avoid a lot of things. Like when we were going through things, he and I talked a lot about things that were going on in my life, and when we would talk about things, he would just say, you worry too much. Just don't worry about that. Let God take care of that, So he avoided a lot of situations that he thought would cause negative repercussions or negative imprints in his mind or in his heart, so that he could get through a lot of things. At least that's my conclusion to how he was able to internalize a lot of these things and not feel negative about them. One other thing that I was going to mention to you all, and in my mind just went blank, I'll sing you a moment, was that, oh my God, it was very important. Well, just in thinking about him and how he kind of internalized things and was able to move on, there was something that was so pressing in my mind. Jesus.
Toward the ground.